Now, here's the bad news. We got a whole bunch of proud Americans here who are in the fight of their lives. We have underway, as I don't have to tell anybody who hasn't lived living in a cave, the changing of our national landscape. Now, what kind of agricultural community do you want? Let me ask the most aggressive and upsetting question of all, in my limited judgment. Saving the family farm by using public money is a little like saving 4 McDonald's on one street corner. That's not the way the system works. We admire your patriotism. We admire the fact that you've always been the first to send your sons to war. We admire that you almost never cheat on your income tax. And for sure, we admire your efficiency. Nobody does it like you do. Nobody does it better. From fence to fence, you have the greatest yield, the best kind of product in the history of agriculture around the world. But unfortunately, you look up now in the 80s, and what appears to be happening is too many farms for the market that's available, and many of you are standing to say that you think public monies should be used to keep your heritage alive. And other beleaguered taxpayers in America are saying, we love you, but we don't think that's fair.
I just wanted to say that I'm questioning, or I don't understand why farmers are viewed as being different than other businessmen, and that other businessmen who provide us with valuable services aren't asking for the kind of assistance that farmers are, and I'm concerned.
Because we are the only people who don't set our own prices. We go out and say, what will you give us for our corn today? What will you give us for our beans? These other people send us a bill. We pay it.
We're not asking for money free. We're asking for a loan to pay it back.
But your loan came on prices that were inflated and peaked in 1980, and now the bottom has fallen out of your collateral. I mean, doesn't everybody know that? And the banker is saying, but you must pay the rent. And you're saying, but I can't pay the rent. But you must pay the rent. Here we are now. Now, what are you going to do about it?
We're fighting to save the family farms instead of having corporate farming. Because if we have corporate farming, we will, all the big cities and everybody, fight, or will be suffering, because you guys are going to be paying $50 a pound for hamburger, and that's going to hurt everybody, not just the farmers.
Agribusiness is going to be in charge of the marketplace of agriculture.
Mm-hmm. Corporations.
And okay, but what's going to happen?
All right, right now, down in southwest Iowa, there is a corporation that rented about 20,000 acres.
Right.
They didn't farm. They raped our land.
They're not sensitive to soil conservation and others, is that your point?
Right. That and the fact that they used seed corn that had, what, a 30% germination.
So the larger the farm, the less the huh?
They federal cropped it. In other words, they went into farming so they could collect a big insurance
over
check.
The next fiscal quarter. They're not
This year. Well, in '85.
Yeah, and they're not worried about the long term. You're saying.
They don't care about the land.
So we're going to look up and see a great big dust bowl in the Midwest?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
We're not just trying to save the family farm. We're trying to save America. We're setting ourselves on fire out here because we're trying to warn this nation of a tidal wave that has already come across us, coming across our small towns, and it's coming your way, whether you want to know it or not, and you better face it. And we're not asking for the government to give us money. I don't want your damn charity. I don't want your subsidies. I want a price in the market.
We do not want the government subsidies. We have subsidized the consumers. I mean, they're only paying 17% of their disposable income after taxes on food, and other countries spend 60 to 70%.
And you're competing with other countries that are very well subsidized.
Yeah, and their labor force, I mean, they've got labor forces that are working for $1, $2 a day.
Yeah, well, you know, the automobile people make the same point.
And just think of all the cars we could buy if we had money. I mean, there's so many things we could do.
Meet Richard and Carolyn Hauser. The Hausers are just like you, farmers. They happen to farm in Griswold, Iowa. They lost their farm last spring. Richard works at a local crisis hotline. Boy, you must hear I'm telling you, you'll never forget this experience, I'm sure. You're members of the Farm Unity Coalition. You wanted to say what, Richard?
Low prices, the subsidy system that's set up is mainly due to incompetent government policy over the last 20, 30, almost 40 years that's led us into this situation. And the only way we're going to get out of it is not necessarily to get government out completely, but to get government to give us some decent framework within the legislative law so we can control our destiny.
We have an administration that wants the marketplace to work here. Better widgets, better mousetraps, get the business.
What we have is...
What you have is what, Mrs. Hauser? I'm sorry, somebody said what you have? Go ahead, make your point. Yes, ma'am.
What we have is a government that all these people here today are talking about subsidizing farmers. What the government is subsidizing is their cheap food policy. Out of this so-called, everybody keeps referring to this as the Farm Bill, and what it is a food act. 58% of that Farm Bill went to food stamps. 5% went to Food for Puerto Rico. 5% went for Food for Peace. Another 10% went to administration of all the USDA programs. You're not subsidizing the farmer, you're subsidizing the consumer in the grocery store. And everybody is going to feel it not only in their pocketbook, but their stomach.
Yeah. Guess who's here? The president of the Iowa Bankers Association. How'd you like his job? He is also president of the First National Bank in Dubuque, an independent bank. Is that right, sir?
That's correct.
You are Bruce Meriwether, and I wouldn't have your job, sir, for anything. You want to make a couple of points, I'm sure. First of all, it's not the bank's money, is it?
No, it isn't the bank's money, but I think people in Iowa understand that. Because the relationship between community banks, which we are, commercial, community, independent for the most part, banks, and not the generic term of credit unions, savings and loans, farmers' home, and all those kinds of things. The community banks in this Iowa, in this state, have supported agriculture. And I want to agree on the government issue. It isn't subsidy that we're looking for. I think it is a practical staying in there till we can get out into the free market system, but not to dump us after putting us in this position.
Yeah. You say put us in this position.
They were quick to bail out Chrysler and the car dealers. Continental Illinois National Bank.
Yeah. Right.
They're not looking strongly at agriculture.
Right. How do you explain, you're a money guy, how do you explain that the stock market is going through the roof? Happy days are here again on Wall Street. We never had it so good. 1,600 plus. You know, is there something we don't understand in New York City, or is it that however difficult your problem right now, it's going to shake out? Certainly it's going to bring a lot of pain to people, but in the long run it's not going to make a dent in the way the big wheel turns in the economic picture in America.
There's a great hype, I think, coming out of the administration and government that says there's a great recovery going on in this country. I heard it last week from the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, and I asked him, if things are so good, then why are they so bad in the heartland?
Yeah, how do you explain that? Why don't you offer your explanation, Mr. Merrill?
Because I don't believe that the equity and understanding has prevailed in Washington. I'm not anti-Washington.
It appears we're not insensitive to your problem.
Yes, we are insensitive to our problem.
Farmers don't want taxpayers' money to bail us out. We want a fair and just price. And the economic system is doing this to us. The farmers aren't failing America. The economic system is failing the business and the farmer. We need a fair price.
Yeah. And how do you get that, sir? You can't just say what you need. Please, how do you get it?
Congressional action put us in this position. Congressional action can take us out. We, the people of America, need to be recognized as carrying this great America.
Yes, sir.
I want to address why our Congress is not being responsive to the people. It's being responsive to corporate pressure from these large grain companies that are putting a pressure on, telling them to depress our prices through the USDA and other government agencies.
Yeah, Phil, I was back in Washington.
Mr. Hauser, sir.
When I was back in Washington in September...
We're on the stage. If we could have the mic on the stage, please. Mr. Hauser, sir.
When I was back in Washington in September lobbying, what that man said is exactly what was going on. The farmers go talk to the congressman, we'd walk out, and all these people in the three-piece suits would step in and undercut everything we did. They're there all the time. We can only be there when we're not busy. And if you notice, two things happened. The Farm Bill was essentially put into passed during the peak time of harvest when we couldn't be there. Secondly, President Reagan said all last summer and all last fall, I will not sign a farm bill that exceeds my budget that I've set aside for the USDA for that fiscal year. He turned around and signed such a bill that exceeded his budget. Yeah. Then he turns right around, signs Graham-Rudman, and completely gutted the farm bill. Now what do we do now? There is government intervention that is harming us, not helping.
Yes. Where are you? I can't find you.
I'm back here. Turn around.
Oh, there you are. Yes, sir.
I'm not a farmer, but I'm from basically a farm community, and the general consensus that I get from the farmers that I talk to is the ones that stayed basically where they were at when the prices dropped are still doing fairly well. They're not making as much as what they were before, but it's more the ones that went out and got greedy and bought up a lot of land when the prices dropped.
No. That's not right. That's not right. What happened, Phil? A lot of people tried to capitalize on inflation during the 70s, just like they indexed the income tax system and union contracts, so we could ride the wave with everybody else. It was not greed. There were sons brought into operations, expanding, and then we had the rug yanked out from us. The administration is trying to change the game faster than what we can keep up with the change, and then this is what we get.
Right. Let me see if the city boy understands the rudiments of this thing. Farmland prices soared, peaked around 1980. Boy, it looked like the place to be was inland.
Right.
And it is very seductive. Land doesn't have any moving parts. It's a piece of the real estate. It's always been at the center of our investment portfolios. We love it. It's a wonderful investment. And we thought that it just kept going up and up and up. We also had an administration, Nixon through Ford, saying plant post to post, didn't they?
Yeah, Ford.
And we also had increasing land values, which allowed us to borrow more money. Right. So here comes the banker. He wasn't born yesterday either. And that's the way the system works. He lent the money, you bought the big tractors, you planted fence to fence, and the bottom fell out from under you. You're saying that's not your fault. You're also accusing the government of sort of cheerleading this kind of investment and borrowing. Is that so?
Yeah, they came out in early 70s, jumped up the acceleration or the depreciation schedule for investments to entice people to get in and borrow.
Right. Now your mission, I think I get this. I think I do. You have to convince the American people that there's something in it for them to preserve what you call the family farm, so celebrated in movies recently. Boy, we just love to watch your courage, and we feel for you during the auction. But I don't know how much we're willing to go into a paycheck that's already been withered by taxes in order to save the family farm when we don't see any immediate pain if we lose it. That's your public relations problem.
But do you want food? You know, when it comes right down to it, farmers are providing the food, and then what?
Yeah, do we want
I mean,
corporations running, you know, completely in charge of our food system? We've got corporations now that have given us $600 toilet seats. The Love Canal.
We had corporations in charge of the American automobile industry, and look what happened to that, too.
But what's a farm crisis now may turn into a food crisis in the 90s. And
yeah. So you're saying save our farm because the big guys are going to rip you off later?
Yes, yes.
All right. I'll give you a chance, I promise. We're in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and we'll be back in just a moment.
First, I noticed the aroma. Then I saw it. New crusty French leaf from Pillsbury. A French leaf so crisp, incredible. And then suddenly, it disappeared without a trace.
New crusty French loaf.
Leaf.
Well, at least one of them's gold.
How about some coffee? It's decaffeinated.
Half a cup's fine.
You drink decaf.
Sure, and when I find one that's got a full flavor, I'll have a full cup.
This one does.
Brim?
It's got full, rich flavor.
Now this is a find. Fill it to the rim.
With the full, rich taste of Brim decaffeinated coffee.
You got the style, you got the look you like, you got the taste. You know when things are right, you know when there's something more is worth looking for. Look to us, we're still more. Cedar Rapids, look to us, we're still more. Cedar Rapids, look to us, we're still more. Look to us.
Selma reinvents the mattress for comfortable, luxurious sleep. Individual water-filled cylinders placed side by side allow the Soma mattress to subtly adjust to your every move, to support you with perfect balance from head to toe on a plush sleeping surface resembling a field of pillows. Lie down on America's new mattress, the Soma mattress, reinvented to perfection.
Discover the new Soma mattresses today at Smolikoff's downtown Cedar Rapids.
The one thing that I'm really concerned about as a college student is that, well, people are so concerned, why should I care? The tax structures need to be fixed because the budget cuts are affecting everybody. Students' tuitions are getting hiked drastically. The farmers are going out of business. The students can't go to college. I think the source of the problem will be fixed if the tax structures are fixed.
Okay, what we don't
Yeah, go ahead.
What we don't understand as dumb farmers is how come there's only 4 cents worth of corn in a box of cornflakes, and the box of cornflakes sells for almost $2 a box, and that's more than what the support price is going to be for corn next year to seal at $1.92.
Yeah. Is that the point you wanted to make, sir? Is that your... Okay, I've got a gentleman with a box of cornflakes, and if we don't get him on, I'm going to need security to get out of here. Hurry, please. Please, raise your hand so we can find you here. This is, all right, hang on. We'll get to you in just 1 second. Stay here with me for a second.
One of the biggest problems we have today...
Over here, David.
...is the mixed signal that our farm organizations are sending out to the general public. For instance, the president of our largest farm organization says that the only way us farmers can survive is to have a job on the side outside the farm. And I say we have too many people outside the farm, in the farm business, that are using the tax write-offs to beat us.
Right. You talk about business guys, business people.
I'd like to know why this same largest farm organization has to contribute 3 paragraphs of its 86 resolutions trying to take away from the American unions. What business is theirs what the union people are doing? Who wants to make $6 an hour and pay $4 a pound for steak?
Right. The cornflakes man, you're on, sir.
Don't complain about the farmer when you have a full stomach. This sold this week in Cedar Rapids for $1.19 on special. The farmer got less than 5 cents for the amount in the $1.19 box. If you would double his price of corn, you'd only pay 4 10 cents more. Don't talk about subsidizing the farmer. The man that printed the box made more than the man that grew the corn.
What we really need is Reagan. What we really need is...
Wait a minute. Go back to this. You're not finished now. Wait a minute. Now, how'd we get here? Maybe you'll give us your wisdom on that.
When they had the PIC program 3 years ago, there was a $50,000 limit to any farmer. John Block said, it's not money, it's just grain. They opened the granary doors, and corporate farms in Iowa gave one man in northern Iowa enough money that he bought a defunct bank in Bloomfield, Iowa. The bankers the corporation farms that cashed in on the PIC program, there are Farm Bureau leaders that are having auctions in the next 2 weeks in this Lynn County. They're the ones that told us a marketplace was going to solve the problem. Why are they getting out of farming?
Yeah, why? Phil?
Yes.
That $50,000 limit he's referring to in 1983 PIC was declared illegal in 1984.
Right.
They
But it
said
was
it was
already
wrong.
too late. The big guys picked the cream of the pick, did they?
Right, and the other thing, that comment the guy made about the tax system, Iowa used to be, I think, near #1 in cattle feeding. I want to hear how many people in this audience used to feed cattle. Clap. Chances are they're not feeding cattle anymore because of the tax investors that are farming the tax code in the cattle market down in the high plains of Texas, Kansas, Oklahoma, and they're shipping the grain down here to do it, and we're losing jobs here in Iowa, and the revenue from it, and the balanced revenues coming from the U.S. tax code, and Phil, that's you.
Sir.
Why do we have a double standard? When the automobile industry raises their price, it is wonderful. When anything else goes up, it's wonderful. If farm prices go up a nickel, oh my God, what horrible inflation we have.
What we really need is the 1985 tax, the tax reform bill. We need the Reagan #1 tax plan, which eliminates tax loss farming. We also need the 1985 farm bill that Senator Harkin put through, which is called the Family Farm Protection Act.
Yeah. How do you feel about the grain embargo?
How do you feel about Carter's grain embargo?
Yeah, well, any grain embargoes, period, the effect.
I don't like them. There were 2 of them that I'm aware of since I started farming. It's either Nixon or Ford put one on, and then Carter. What amazes me is Carter still believes it did some good.
Phil.
Probably why he didn't get reelected.
Let me comment on that in generalities, that the loss of market over the years, the international market, has been one of the major factors in this depressed thing that we're in. It all relates back again to the federal deficit. I can remember Bangladesh. Do we all remember when that was a country that we all had heartfelt things for and sent food? That is now a self-sufficient country in providing food. We lost that market. We've lost other markets, and until the government can control this deficit,
it is true. I think
$1 trillion budget, why then we're going to have great difficulty in finding markets, even if we get the production capacity that we think we need.
Phil,
just 1 second.
In 1947, I bought corn for $2.80 a bushel. Last week, I was settled up for corn that I sold at $1.80 a bushel. You people know the difference in the cost of things that we buy over that period of time.
We need to get beyond...
The gentleman with his cornflakes. We get 43 cents a pound for any pork. Bacon is $1.98, $2.39. Where is that money going in between? The middleman. The middleman is making the money. Here we produce it. We have to pay a certain price for whatever they say feed is worth. Corn is worth so much. We've got all our money tied up in it, and we cannot say what we have to even break even, let alone make a profit.
I'd like to address the issue that's come up before about, over here, Phil.
Yeah, go ahead.
To your left. The issue of, we've talked about farming being a business, and why don't farmers treat themselves like other business people? And the thing I'd like to say is we have to set some priorities. Somebody mentioned the fact that we spend 17% of our disposable income on food. And I think that it's a priority to everybody in this nation to spend that proportion and not much higher on their food bill. And I think it's a lack of foresight. People think the farmers got themselves into this mess. And I think that corporations are going to be in the same mess like in 10 to 15 years, or maybe 5 to 10 years, when the Japanese and the cheap labor start affecting the computer market, mainframe computers.
It is bad, but we've got to get beyond our grief. I cried when I lost my job with a farm supplier. I cried when my dad sold the cattle and had to plow up land that had been pasture for years and years. But it's time to move beyond grieving. We've got to think of the plans of action, and we've got to be ready to move in a united force.
What would you do first? What's the first move?
The first move is to start listening to people like Dr. Wayne Overly, who have ideas, who've developed plans that can work, can join people together and get us acting on our own behalf instead of waiting for the government or somebody else to bail us out. Nobody else can do it. We have to act, and we've got to act now.
Hold it, please, over here.
All the fuss and furor and the agony and all the diversions, there is about legislation and all these proposed solutions, and there's one been standing there since the year I was born, 1922, the Capper-Volstead Act, that enables farmers to legally price their production in a cooperative manner. It's as American as apple pie. It's legal, effective, fair. It has a consumer protection clause in it that will prevent farmers from ever gouging the American consumer.
And how is the product brought to market?
It's simple. It's a long-established farm organization, the National Farmers Organization, the NFO. It's been there. It's standing in place, ready to serve the farmers anytime enough of them want to put the production to act like businessmen for a change instead of beggars in the marketplace.
Bill?
You know,
Bill?
Yeah.
One of the things that people can do right now, corporate-wise, and public-wise, to move and make some action, is the public themselves. Stop going to the local burger stand that is getting their beef that's raised in South America, Mexico. Let's bring it back to the United States. We've got lots of farmers right here that need their beef sold, and we can take that hamburger and put it into the burger stands.
We have gathered here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, almost 10,000 people who clearly care about not only their livelihood, but they're saying yours as well. And we'll be back in just a moment.
Your wedding day is the most important day in your life. Make it easier for your family and friends to give you the gifts you desire by registering with Smolukov's Bridal Registry. Smolukov's carries the finest in merchandise. Our trained bridal staff will help you select the china, crystal, hollowware, silver, accessories, and small appliances just right for your new life together. Smolukov's Bridal Registry gives you the opportunity to tell your friends and guests what you want and need in the nicest way.
Let's move here when we retire.
Maybe we'll buy this place.
Could we?
At Dubuque Bank and Trust, we've got the individual retirement account right for you. It takes experience and know-how to tailor-make a retirement plan. And at DB&T, we can design a plan for you. Still love me when I'm old and gray?
Honey, you already are gray.
The bankers to see all
says shop Menards now for top savings on the top names and tools. Menards has power tools by Skill, Hitachi, Black & Decker, and more on sale now. Here's another name you can trust. Menard brand tools are on sale too, like Menard tape measures on sale now starting at just $1.77. Plus, any tool that carries our name also carries our 2-year no-hassle limited warranty. Herbie says, buy with confidence and save at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
My mom is so upset. She found out that her special Italian turnover, Pizza Hut's now got one for lunch too. Calizza, they call it. How they got the recipe, I don't know. Maybe my cousin Angelo gave it to him. It's got sausage and green peppers, a delicious tomato sauce, even a light crust, just like Mama's. And they serve it in 5 minutes guaranteed.
Calizza Italian turnover at Pizza Hut.
Mama, they might have a Calizza, but you still got me.
Thompson said we all pay taxes, all of us do.
Stories of farmers being forced off their land have bombarded us through our television screens. In Plattsburgh, Missouri, the foreclosure of a farmer who had been on the land for 52 years erupted in violence.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, there's not too many of us can't empathize with what it must be like to see somebody with a badge come rolling up your driveway. I mean, and you're looking at your wife and you're saying, what did we do to deserve this? Mr. Merriweather, you're the banker. You know, we really should hear from you.
Sure.
You foreclose because you can't give them more. You extend as far as you can, and then occasionally you have to foreclose because why?
Because I think we have the regulation problem in banking requiring capital requirements. We have the protection, safety, and soundness of depositors' money. And it's really as
not
difficult.
To foreclose is to be unfair to the rest of your depositors? Is that the point?
That's part of the problem. And I'd like to say, while I have the opportunity, at one point, is that the bankers of this state grew up in the communities that they serve for the most part, went to school with the people that are their customers, sit in church with them on Sunday, and to not just foreclose, but to advise throughout this very difficult period that foreclosure may be imminent, or that the farm may be gone, or those kinds of things, is a very, very stressful situation for that banker as well as for their farm customers. And I think that needs to be said.
Yeah, over here, please.
I personally think that each one of us who go to work at a 7 to 3:30 job should thank the farmer because they enable us to have all the free time that we have.
Bill.
What is it?
Bill?
Go ahead.
Earlier you said that these airwaves were ours.
Did say that, yeah.
A lot of our competitors have used these airways to talk the American people out of eating our wholesome red meat and farm products, i.e. Jane Fonda, the American Medical Association, and others. I think it's high time we use this meeting to sell our products and get the people eating the delicious food that we produce out here on Iowa's farms.
Well,
let me...
The place to get our money to retire these loans is out of the marketplace. But I want to tell you folks, you'll never get it going there by yourself saying, what are you going to give me? You got to get together with your neighbor and you got to, excuse me, sell together. And as the gentleman indicated a little while ago, there's an organization out here that has the framework all set up. All we're waiting for the rest of you fellas to participate with the program, and we can move the prices tomorrow.
Yeah, what would you do if you had? Let's get this in. You know, you are not famous for marching in lockstep, farmers, and you should probably be proud of that. It means you think for yourself. But your failure to coalesce in this crisis is part of your problem. If you could get the kind of unity that would really make noise, what would you do?
We're not interested in making a lot of noise. We're interested in moving the production in a blocked form, in a systemized way.
Would you withhold? Would you withhold?
It's not necessary to withhold at this point in time. It's a matter of moving the production through the market system, managing your supply.
I think that's critical, Phil, because farmers are the only industry that do not have the opportunity to manage our supply. If we grow too much stuff one year, the next year we should have the vehicle to trim down the next year's production to meet its demand, just like General Motors and John Deere and IBM do. If they have too much inventory, they trim down a plant. I'm getting very sick and tired of hearing people say that we have too many farmers, like you alluded to at the start.
I did, yeah.
Phil?
Part of that problem is a misconception from the business world, and including Washington, is pure rhetoric, that if you get rid of some of the farmers, you get rid of some of the production and take the land out of production, just like when you shut down a factory, you trim off part of the supply. It doesn't work that way.
Larger farms pick up your property, and there goes, and the yield remains the same.
And it's right back in the marketplace, and it's there staring you in the face the next year.
Over here.
As a social worker, and working through this administration that says they're very pro-family, and yet I think the policy decisions are very clear that we have big defense budget and very low pro-family budget.
Right.
Additionally,
on the main floor.
Additionally, as a small-town banker's daughter and as a social worker who works with farmers who are hurting, I think this crisis has been framed very poorly as a farm crisis. It is a mid-America crisis and a rural crisis. And I don't think we should have any trouble standing up and working together here and saying very clearly, let's be pro-family, but let's put our money on the line.
I'm down here on the main floor.
Okay.
I guess I think it's fairly obvious that we have a large supply and a small demand here. And if we think that the larger corporations or the government is going to pave the way for us, we are very mistaken. I feel that we can't sit around and wait for these things to happen. We have to get out there and develop our own markets, join the kind of organizations and support the kind of organizations that are working for this. I'm a very strong member of the Iowa Pork Council Women. I'm a very proud member of that. And we're really working to develop a red meat market so that we can sell our product and earn our own money. We don't want charity. Let's all get out there and work hard for what we want.
Down here, sir. You've been waiting. Yes, sir. You've got it.
Yes, I want to...
Down here in the end zone, please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I want to talk about the banking situation. Unfortunately, everybody has too much greed in the country. But going back to bankers today, or the loaning agencies, we need them, of course. But we have the people today that are in trouble are not the ones that have the 10% money borrowed at the bank. They're the ones that have the 15% money. Somewhere we need to do something. We talk too much, but there's no action. Somewhere along the line, the person that does not have the net worth behind him, we need to give him the 10% money, right along with the guy that has no risk. And unfortunately, that isn't the situation. When I first started farming, my dad had his money, I suppose back in those days, at 6%. Hell, that cost me 8%. I needed the break, he didn't, but that's the way it is. Somewhere along the line, we ought to do something with that interest and help those that need the help.
It's very hard to administer that, however, on an equity basis. But I might mention
Mr. Merriweather,
that there are two proposals, one which is Senator Boschwitz and Senator Grassley proposal at the federal level, and Governor Branstad's proposal in Iowa for a buy-down interest rate program.
But isn't that a Band-Aid, Mr. Merriweather? I'm not saying we don't want it. I'm saying that's hardly long-term fix.
That may be a Band-Aid because this thing has grown into proportions.
By buy-down, you mean knock down that interest 2 points, and then the bank knocks it down, a matching 2 points with federal help. Is that a loan?
And the banks won. And I think that those proposals will get a hard look to do what that gentleman is asking about. But understand, and this won't be a popular statement, but understand, to administer an interest program, a credit program, equitably in the banking system is very difficult. Because those that you would like or find it necessary to buy down or give lower rates to cash flow might be one thing, but the other people are coming in on top of you wanting those same kind of rates, and you begin to buy down to nonprofit and then the bank into the capital of the bank, and then, of course, the bank does not survive.
We are in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We'll be back in a moment.
I
want a laxative that's natural and works overnight.
There's only one there.
This one?
No.
These aren't natural.
Neither's that.
Natural fiber.
But they can take up to 3 days to work.
3 days? Well, that leaves Gentle Nature. Never heard of it.
Gentle Nature's new from X-Lax, a natural vegetable tablet that works overnight. It's gentle, it's natural, it's new Gentle Nature.
Natural and overnight.
Smolikoffs and Sealy, maker of the famous Posturepedic mattress, bring you a fantastic value. You can get a Sealy FirmFlex twin-size mattress or foundation for just $88 at Smolikoffs. Save even more on the set. FirmFlex offers quilted tick, no sag edges, firmer coils, and torsion bar foundation.
Sounds like I get a lot for my money. Can I save on other sizes?
Save on full or queen size, too, now at Smolikoffs, downtown Cedar Rapids.
Gonna miss this place. Spent half my life here. But at least we won't have to worry about money.
At Dubuque Bank and Trust, we're specialists in retirement planning, working hard to plan the retirement you want. Our retirement options even include trusted and self-directed IRAs.
Well, I guess this is where the future starts.
The cost of buying a new car or truck just went down at Bob Zimmerman Ford. 7.9% financing, and we'll make your first 2 payments. That's right, we'll actually write the check for you. 7.9 on selected Escorts, Tempos, Thunderbirds, Rangers, F-150s, all with no payments till May. Escort, $123 a month. Tough Ranger, $139 a month. Even Tempo, $149 a month. Imagine 7.9 direct from Ford, and we'll pay the bank. Don't miss no payments till May and 7.9. Now at Bob Zimmerman Ford.
You got the style, you got the look you like, you got the taste. You know when things are right, you know when there's something more is worth looking for. Look to us, we're still more. Cedar Rapids, look to us, we're still more. Cedar Rapids, look to us, we're still more. Look to us.
This is farming. You know, this is a way of life. And I guess I carry that attitude with him. It's the only thing I want to do. And it's the only really down-to-earth thing I want to do. And it's hard to have that type of an attitude and then lose a farm.
As you recognize, Richard Hauser. This is from The End of the Road. This is a documentary produced by KGAN-TV in Omaha, Nebraska. Thank you for, my gosh, your own media has not abandoned you here in the breadbasket of our country. And Mr. Hauser was called to our attention by way of that, I thought, very, very well-constructed documentary. Oh, yeah. I just, one more time, Mr. Hauser, there isn't an American who doesn't admire your interest in this legacy, in this heritage, in the family farm. But there are some people out there that don't want to be called cold-hearted, to say to you that there were family companies that sold running boards, and they're gone. There were family companies that sold cranks for Model Ts, and they're gone. It's about the changing landscape of America. We want you to be a thriving, you are married once, family man, you're everything we base our whole country on. We don't want you economically dependent. But how in the world, against the fact that we have already spent more money on this so-called farm problem than ever before in history, can you expect the American people to stand up and say, yeah, here's some more, we want you to have your family farm?
Well, first of all, the money they gave us didn't work. It's obvious. If you throw money at a problem and do not attempt to fix the problem will keep coming back. And that's exactly what's been happening.
Mrs. Hauser.
Phil?
Let Mrs. Hauser in, please.
Yeah. We lost our first farm we'd ever bought. It was 80 acres. I guess our age had a little bit to do with that. By the time we got there, you know, we just bought at the wrong time. But there is a lot of devastation of loss. You go through a great deal of hurt. And
it must be awful. I can't imagine anything worse than to have some guy in a in a uniform come up and take your house has got to be the ultimate nightmare. Nobody's denying that.
It's not anything that happens overnight, though. You're with this for months, days before it even happens. You're working up to it, and you're just, you know, the depression is there. You know, one day you're okay, the next day you're down, and you're trying to raise your children. You're trying to keep this, you know, a family life together with your children, and then it's still just there.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Interest rates are still too high.
Where are you? Where are you, interest rates?
Well, here.
Oh, there you are, up there. Yes, ma'am.
Paul Volcker keeps the interest way up, and that causes a high dollar, which in turn keeps us from exporting our products, and the farmer gets hit from both ends. He has to pay a high interest when he borrows the money, and then he doesn't get anything for his product because we can't export, and we can't export.
Yeah, but he's trying to control inflation.
Right.
He'd give you a better speech than I'm going to, but he's claiming that if you take the lid off, then you get runaway inflation, and you're not going to be you've got as many problems then, certainly on the farm, as you'd have today.
I can make a better speech than that.
What is it?
I can address it better than that. You're questioning the high interest rates, the present high interest rates.
In the end zone down here, yes, ma'am.
Right now, the government of the United States is living under a $200 million deficit.
200 billion, yes.
200 billion, I'm sorry. Now ask yourself how much our government spends on weapons. And it's $300 billion a year.
Bill.
And that's why interest rates are high.
Bill.
Yeah.
That's why.
Bill.
Yeah, but you know, I have a feeling that conclusion has come very, very hard to farmers.
It's come slow, but it's there.
Yeah, I know that. You know, you really did. You supported the president. You can't get elected to Congress if you don't promise more defense spending.
You can't do that now, though.
The Russians are coming. We got to have all these missiles.
No, Phil, you can't scare me anymore.
Phil, right below you.
You can't scare me anymore.
You voted in overwhelming.
Phil, right below you.
President Reagan told you what he was going to do, and he carried Iowa comfortably.
Did you ever stop and consider that President Reagan might be lying to the American public so that he can keep Cap Weinberg and the defense industries happy and say, the hell with the farmers? We want it this way or no way at all, and now we're suffering for it.
General Dynamics is back in business, you know.
You bet
they were
are.
suspended for stealing your money, and now because they're the only people that can make a boat, they got the business back. Where is your indignation for that?
Phil, she's full of it. She's full of indignation. She's from the city. I know her personally.
She is?
She's trying to convert a bunch of...
Wait a minute. We're over here. We're over here.
She's trying to convert a bunch of farmers to what she's saying. We need more and more to come to the realization that we got to get more farms and less arms. It's ridiculous. And Phil...
Yeah, what is it?
And Phil...
But you know what, Father? Are you a priest, Father?
Yes.
Well, then I don't want to interrupt you, Father, but hang on just 1 second.
Phil, your bishops and mine for years have been saying, farmers, you got to have collective bargaining. You got to bring your products together and sell them, saying, this is what we want, not what you give us. I'm getting sick and tired of being a professional mourner. I spend full time working with farmers that are like Mrs. Hauser and the rest of them, and it's ridiculous. What we got to do is say we need a price, and to stop this ridiculous saying of more and more handouts. We need a price for our products.
Wait a minute. Hold it just a moment. Father, let me get Father, if you guarantee a price, you guarantee inefficiency and surplus. You guarantee fence to fence.
I'm glad you asked that. I'm glad you asked that. Even if we had a perfect farm bill, even with collective bargaining, the farm families that I work with can't feed their kids when you've got people who make thousands of dollars in the city, not like you. You don't invest in agriculture, I'm sure, as a tax write-off. But many do. They come into farming to purposely lose money. In the meantime, moms and dads can't feed their kids. The town folks got to wake up to that.
Phil. What? Phil. Hang on a minute. This is interesting. Now, please don't accuse us. We passed out a piece of paper. We asked you to write down the name of a person that you would like to see elected president in 1988. We know it's early. We know there's 2 years, but Iowa plays a very important first-time chapter in American presidential politics. Boy, they cover you like a blanket. How about it? You see media here every 4 years, then they disappear, do they? All right, let me show this. So far, we've got almost 10,000 people here, so this is just the early returns. We didn't give you any option. We just left a blank space, and we asked the following question. Who would you like to see elected president in 1988? So far, here are the early tabulations. In first place, next slide, please, Gary Hart with 450, George Bush with 246, Lee Iacocca with 240, and Mario Cuomo with 183. Those are early returns. And we'll be back to Cedar Rapids, Iowa in just a moment.
This is my house. I like it a lot. I like to add new furniture all the time. Daddy says I'm just like Mommy that way. When I grow up, I'm going to get my furniture at the same place Mommy and Daddy do. It's called Smulikov's. I like it. Mommy says they have 3 acres of furniture. I don't know how big an acre is, but 3 of them all together sure is a lot.
Smulikov's, 3 acres of magic in downtown Cedar Rapids.
As you know, Mama's very upset. She locked herself in her bedroom. Her special Italian turnover, Pizza Hut's now got one for lunch, too. Calizza, they call it. No, Mama, I didn't give him the recipe. It's got 5 delicious cheeses, a tomato sauce, even a light crust, just like Mama's. And it's served in 5 minutes, guaranteed. I swear, Mama, I didn't.
Calizza Italian turnover at Pizza Hut.
She's never coming out.
With special Ford financing at 7.9%, Freeze Ford Mercury can now deliver you a Ford F-150 pickup, well-equipped like this one, at only $168 a month. Or enjoy a sporty Ford Ranger equipped like this unit at only $175 a month. Want a Mercury at a price you'll love? Mercury Lynx at only $99 a month, or lease it for $70 a month. For 40 years, Freeze Ford Mercury has been understanding your way to buy or lease.
Only one way, your way.
We know your floor has seen a lot of traffic over the years. Traffic that's taken a terrible toll on your once beautiful floor.
That's why Jones Brothers Interiors is having a 20% off sale on Congolium Pavilion No-Wax Vinyl Flooring with Chroma Bond for superior stain and wear resistance. Also on sale, Esteem Fashion Floor and Innovation by Congolium.
So if your old floor has seen enough traffic, replace it with a new one from Congolium today. But you'd better step on it. This special offer ends soon.
Back. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I would suggest that America hangs their flags upside down because this is a distress signal that America is in trouble. And what I have to say, I am afraid that your studio will not record tomorrow. And I need to express it because what is behind this whole movement is a conspiracy, and it has to do with international bankers, and I want to be heard, and I don't have time to say it right now.
Well,
they own your network.
I'll tell you this, there's an awful lot of people out there trying to exploit your agony with even further exploitation of other.
Phil, would you like to invest in a nice little farm in Northeast Iowa?
We're in Cedar Rapids, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Mom's got an inch on me.
And I intend to keep it. So to supplement my diet, I take Avail.
Avail is the calcium-intensive multivitamin.
Calcium helps keep bones strong and straight.
But most women don't get enough, even if they take one of these multivitamins. Because all these, put together, don't contain as much calcium as Avail.
Once you've seen the available facts, your multivitamin will be Avail.
Calcium intensive Avail.
My husband, Alex Karras, with a testimonial for Lazy Boy Chair.
He's saying his Lazy Boy recliner knocks him out. He's comfortable knowing a genuine Lazy Boy chair has over 50 years of quality built in. And he says Lazy Boy is the original recliner, with features still unmatched today. Lazy Boy, there's only one. Unless, of course, you count Alex.
That's cute, Susan.
Save now on a Lazy Boy at Smulikoff's in downtown Cedar Rapids.
You got the style, you got the look you like, you got the taste. You know when things are right, you know when there's something more is worth looking for. Look to us, West Gilmore. Cedar Rapids, look to us, West Gilmore. Cedar Rapids, look to us, West Gilmore. Look to us.
Look at Mama. She's beside herself. She found out I had Kalitza for lunch at Pizza Hut. It wasn't so bad. Then she found out I loved it. That was bad. They make one with Italian sausage and green peppers, and another with 5 delicious cheeses, just like Mama does. And it's served in 5 minutes, guaranteed.
Kalitza Italian turnover at Pizza Hut.
I can't believe Mama's going.
Mama is not.
Hi again, Kerry J. Hahn, the Iowa Traveler here. Well, it's done. My week-long series, In the Shoes Up. Tune in and you'll see me packing turkey parts in Postville, taste-testing oatmeal in Cedar Rapids, icing cakes in New Hampton, manning the toy tractor line in Dyersville, and flipping burgers at a Cedar Rapids school cafeteria. So join me tonight at 6 here on 2 Action News. Gotta clean up. Hi-ho, hi-ho.
Just say very briefly, we are grateful to KGAN for putting this together for us here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Also, we will be back tomorrow. We will be back tomorrow to talk with a senator and others from other states.
Bill, let me
Could I make a point? Let me get, yes, Mr. Merriweather, sir.
Let me quickly say that a lot of conversation has been to the accountability of government today. We also have an accountability. Let's remember not only
Services
what goes
provided
on
and promotional fees paid by the following.
Let's all remember to go.
Presenting the Volvo 700 Series.